I'm going to show you how to build a projects database in Notion from scratch. And this database will plug into the task database that we built together last time. If we haven't met, my name is Sydney, and if you've played around with Notion databases before and you gave up on it, let me simplify it for you. So the projects database we're going to build together is based on the Getting Things Done model. It's a very popular model. It's one of the main sources of inspiration behind this whole system, so we're going to use that one. I'll add more context as we go, so let's jump into it. So in the project management system, let's create a new table. This is a table view because we're creating a database. And we are clicking new database at the bottom here. So the first thing we're going to do is add some properties. So let's open up a side peek. Actually, let's go full view, full window. And we're not going to need tags, so let's just delete that. So the first thing we're going to add is a status for our project. So it's going to be a select property. Let's call it status. And now let's populate this with statuses or stati. I keep doing this every time. I'll eventually sort out how to pronounce the plural of status. So the first one is active. Then we'll add next up. Then future, maybe someday. Depending on how you work, future and maybe someday might become redundant, but the way I work, they're not. And I couldn't explain why either. It's vibes, really. And I misspelled someday, so let's rename that. There we go. And of course, the final status is completed. Put this back to active. Next, we're going to add priorities. This is going to be another select. I want to add it under here. Let's go. Honestly, if you have more than 5 active projects, you're probably putting too much on your plate. I don't like having this much, but it's a reasonable maximum to set for now. I would like to play with the colors a bit. For priority 4 and 5, I don't really care, but I like priority 1 to be red, priority 2 to be yellow, and priority 3 to be green. I don't care what color priority 4 is, but I don't want it to be yellow, so let's go with blue. Okay, I don't want it to be the same color as the other one. Let's go with pink. I don't care. Next, we'll add a timeline. So it's going to be a date property. And also a review date. Another date property. Let's put it below. I don't personally use review dates, but I know it's popular in the GTD system, so let's add it. And now this is where the magic starts happening. So we're going to create a relation with the task database that we built last time. And if you haven't played along with the last video, at this point it should be clear that it would be really helpful to have watched it. But let's go with relation. It's going to be the tasks. Yes, I want to show on tasks. I want this to be a two-way relationship. And yes, in the task database, it's going to be called projects. That's what I'm expecting to happen. Let's click on add relation. So now we see that the task database is here. And if we go to the root and click on tasks, we can see that there's a projects relation right here. So now the text property that we created last time, we can delete it. And as a matter of fact, the whole text thing, I'm not really going to do it because of this step that I don't feel like doing every time, because there are more connections that the projects database and the task database will connect to over time. But we'll save those. Actually, the teaser's right there on my screen. But anyway, let's keep going. Actually, before we continue, I created this wrong, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this into a page, which was my intention, and the page contains the database. That's what I wanted to do. So now let's rename this the master table view. So master table. That. And since this is a master table, I like to have the status first, then the priority. Then depending on how you like to do it, you could either have the review date or the timeline. It doesn't really matter. Having the tasks visible in here would not be good. So let's hide that. I think that's good for now. So let's add a gallery view. These are basically the two only views that we're going to have in this database for now. As we start adding views into this database, we might add other formats, but let's choose a gallery. I like my gallery small with the page cover as the cover. I like specifically projects databases for this, but we'll get to that later in this video series. So let's click on done. And now we have the roots of our projects database. So earlier I talked about the magic starting to happen. Now the magic is going to unfold a bit more, and we're going to start really diving into some of the benefits of using Notion for shit like this. So let's create a template which we will use to have a baseline to start with whenever we create a new project in our system. So next to the new button, we have the little pull down menu here. I'm going to click on new template. Let's go full screen. We're going to be here for a while. So for starters, we're going to go new project template. And we want our projects to be full page. So we're going to take that. You can do small text or not. I don't really care. Actually, let's leave the small text. You can do it as you please. Since it's a new project, I like having the default status be active. And now we're going to add elements of the GTD project system. So just for transparency's sake, and it'll be obvious as I build this template, I'm going to present the elements in the order that they're typically talked about when we're talking about getting things done projects, but they will not end up in that order for reasons that I will explain as we go, basically. The main thing is, why would I typically want to end up here? That's one of the key things behind my entire philosophy and how I use Notion, and it'll start being clear now. So the first element of a GTD project is the purpose. So I'm gonna add a title, add purpose. Let's make it blue. I like blue. August Bradley's templates have this shit as blue, and I like the color. And as a purpose, I like having a call out. It looks nice. I don't always have a purpose like in a project, but it's nice having that option. I can just delete it if I don't need it for this project. Let's go with an arrow. I mean, is it? Oh no, not arrow, target. There we go. Now that I think about it, a target isn't necessarily the best icon because a purpose in the GTD system is like the why, the fuel that'll get your motors running, but I don't feel like changing it again. Anyway, let's keep going. The next part is the intended outcome and principles. So let's add that in. Oh, wait, I need to make it a title. I like having these in columns, so I'm gonna drag this all the way to the side like this, and let's make them blue. Oh yeah, I could just do Control-Shift-H. Whoops. There we go. Now, the intended outcome is the visual manifestation of what you're trying to accomplish with this project, like the actual end goal, a description of it. And the principles are basically the parameters and constraints that we're going to use to get to that target. Actually, since I don't want to leave these areas empty, let's type out what I just described. So, and for principles, let's start a new column. So I'm going to go here and hit enter. Oh, let's grab this and drag it up there. Good. Yeah, let's add a period over here too. We're actually going to keep building in chronological order because the next phase is to brainstorm. You know, there are no bad ideas and that kind of thing. But since this is split into columns and I don't want the brainstorming section to be that way, I'm going to create this under purpose. Another title. Escape to select the block. Control Shift H, and now we can drag this under like so. And for brainstorming, I like bullet points. What I'm gonna do, I'm going to hide this under a toggle. I just decided to do this on the fly. And one bullet point in here. That way, once the brainstorming session is over, you can hide it like this. I abuse the shit out of toggles. It's one of the things that I love so much about Notion. This is the secret weapon right here. And this is a tiny little example of it. But enough of that. Let's keep building this DB. So once we have all our ideas out of our head, it's time to organize them and break the project down into phases and things like that. So we're going to create a new title. Escape, Control Shift H, and this time we are going to put it above the brainstorming, because once a project is underway, the brainstorming isn't that important. You still want it, but usually the phases will be more important more often than the brainstorming. So let's add the first phase. Let's go 1: space. That way we'll have a numbered list. You can't pre-add the future elements, but once we do like, organizing and hit enter, then the numbers will increment that way. So for now, I will just leave an empty one. Now this next part is the best part, for now anyway. Haha, spoilers. Let's add another title. This one is tasks, and tasks are different. So let's make this green. Let's drag it all the way up right under purpose. That's the only thing that I put above tasks, because usually when you go into the projects page, the question that you're asking yourself is, what do I have to do next? So that's why I like putting the tasks at the very, very top. Subject only to the purpose, the driving force behind all of it, you know? So I'm going to create another toggle. I know that you can make titles as toggles. I'm aware of that, but I like doing it this way. If you knew that, so did I. All right, let's keep going. I don't want all the text in this toggle to be green, but I would like it to be green to match this. So I'm going to double click on tasks, and I'm gonna select green from here and make it bold. And actually something that I like to do with the tasks is to highlight it as green. And yeah, because of what I just did, we lost the color for the text. So let's do the same trick we just did below. So it's going to be green like that. Ooh, I love it. Now, in here, we're going to add a linked view into the task database. And speaking of which, for reasons similar to what we did in the master table view, let's just hide this property. This is not something we want to start messing with. Always hide. And we will hide property, and that'll be that. So anyway, let us do / linked view of a database, tasks. What I want is, let's go with the master table. I really like having everything in my project's view. So what we're gonna do, first of all, it's sorted and organized just like holy shit, last time I did this was in July. But regardless, let's keep going. Let's filter this. Yes, done is unchecked, that is clear, but now we're gonna add this to an advanced filter. So done is unchecked. And projects contains new project template. Now, what this is going to do, whenever you create a new project in this database, because of this, where the self-referential filter, any task view in any project that you create from here will only have the tasks that are assigned to that particular project. That is so cool. And now we can close this. Now the final section of this template, I'm kind of adding this as a teaser. It's going to be the reference, which I keep below the brainstorming. Let's make it blue. Oh, I can't use Control Shift H anymore. Blue. And just as a spoiler, the knowledge management in Notion, I'm going to save that for much later. But once we have a notes database and all sorts of things that we like to use to manage our knowledge, we can use the same self-referential filter that we use for the task database for like all the things that we connect in this. Let's leave it empty for now. You can do whatever you want in this, including not doing it. I mean, I know what I'm doing. I'm kind of teasing you right now. Now let's go back to the table or gallery. Really, the important part is getting out of this template. So I'm going to delete some of these. And as an example project, let's take new home security system. Let's go full screen. Actually, that's something that we're going to change in the gallery view very, very shortly. I will not forget. This kind of stuff bugs me. So anyway, let's create a new project and we will add an icon. Let's go with a padlock. Yeah. And the cover. Let's go with lasers. I don't know why the idea of home security lasers came into my mind, but that's what I'm going with. And now, if we go into the projects database, first of all, we can see the cover, like I was saying. But now what we're going to do, I opened it again, and we're going to go up here, switch peak mode, edit view default. And over here, where, oh, my camera is hiding it. Right here, it says full page. That's what we're going to do. And let's do the same thing for the master table, actually. Oh, no, for table view, side peek is actually pretty cool. I'll give me the slack. But gallery view, I almost never want to be in side peek view. There's really no point. I don't want to make you sit through watching me populate this dummy project just as a demonstration, so I'll see you right now. So let's see what we have. First of all, there are a couple changes that I made, adjusting column widths and things like that, because I don't like having all the tasks spread out like this. Also, I switched the area and projects column in this view. Depending on how you work, the area section might become more relevant than your projects, but for now, these are literally the only two databases that we have. The next thing is, I didn't think about it when we were building the task database, but seeing this in a projects database, it minimizes the word later. So I want to change that. Let's rename to future. Much better. Now, the cool thing about being in a filtered view is that when you add something to the database from that view, it auto adds all that it needs to qualify for this filter. So I left one task out just to demonstrate this, which is a schedule family meeting. So if I click on new here, you'll notice that the projects field is already in new home security system. So now I can go to schedule family meeting. This will come much later in the process, so we will tag this as future. And there we go. So now whenever we come into the projects view from this database here, we'll have everything we need to continue planning and working towards the purpose or the intended outcome. So from here, you're basically all set up. So let's close this toggle. Let's go back to the projects view. There's one last thing that I forgot to do, and it is to add an icon to the projects database, which is a page. That was a convoluted sentence, but it does make sense. Let's go with a line graph as an icon for the database. I don't like having an icon for my projects template because in my system, every project has a different icon, so I'm going to change it anyway. Oh, and if you've been building along with me, at this stage in the game, it would probably make more sense for you to work from the projects database than from the task database that we built last time. I'm really enjoying the running gag of just leaving the dates in. I'm as transparent as I can be with this process, but I have a clear enough vision of where we're going. So just to reiterate, for people who've been playing along so far, the best view for now for you to interface with the system with would be either the gallery or the master table view of the projects database. But next time, we're going to build a dashboard that's going to make it more pleasant and cool to interface with both of these databases. And as we keep building this system, we're going to add things that can interface into this same dashboard and maybe build different dashboards depending on our needs and things like that. So if you want to hang along for the ride, please make sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell. You can look at the dates. I'm not just saying this for the algorithm. This really is for your benefit. You take care. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.